Hello. All right, let me just get my buttons where they need to be, of course, and get everybody in. Make sure my mic is on. Perfect. All right, we are on day 3. Our last live for the Fed Up event. However, if you're in the Facebook group, I will still be going live tomorrow at 10 o'clock for audits, which I need to give you your audit form for all of you here live. Let's see. Okay. If you haven't done an audit yet, the link is there. You just fill out the form. And then I go live in the Facebook group and give you personalized feedback on what I'd recommend based on your audit. If you haven't been in the Facebook group yet, you can still join. I'll put it in today's replay so you have the link. And in there, you can see the lives from day 1. Today I was in there at 10 o'clock, and then tomorrow I'll be in there at 10 o'clock for lives. And then I'm keeping that Facebook group open all through next week through the entire Body Wisdom open enrollment event, which will close a week from tomorrow. And we'll talk a little bit more about that today. But today we're making the connection of what we've talked about so far on day 1, which was your nervous system, yesterday, which was nutrition. Today, we're putting it together, um, putting the links together, making it all make sense. If you have questions on anything that I've talked about so far, please put them in the chat because I want to make sure that everything I teach you is very clear, and you understand it. There's no fogginess. You're like, yes, I get it. Makes complete sense. Because if you don't, then I didn't explain something right or correctly or clear enough, and I always want to do that for you. So let me try again if anything is confusing, and I will never take offense to that. I'm going to close my office door so my cat doesn't come in this time. Because she has been very spicy today, and she can stay out. Okay, get everyone in here. And I need to share my screen. All right, we made it to day 3. For one, I just want to say thank you. If you've shown up every day this week, I know that you have other things you could be doing. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart that you have come live every single day. And if you've listened to the replay, that is also your time. And I deeply appreciate that you are willing to listen to me talk for 3 days, an hour every day, read emails, look at things in a new perspective. I don't take that for granted, and I deeply appreciate that you are willing to listen to me for 3 whole days. So on our first day, we really learned more about that nervous system. And day 2, yesterday, we talked about your nutrition, how that's signaling and supporting your nervous system, also how to create hormonal balance. Remember, the 2 hormones we always have control over are your cortisol and your insulin. Those are the 2 that we want to think about most when it comes to hormonal balance. And also, when we can gain more control over the cortisol and the insulin, then everything else that we really want is going to fall into place. Whether that's weight loss, fat loss, gaining muscle, whether that's more energy, sleeping better, natural hormonal balance, feeling at ease and less stress in your body, all of that is going to happen with cortisol and insulin being more regulated in your body. And then today we're going to connect all those dots and we're going to talk about what's next because you really have everything that you need right now. I really gave you a whole lot of information. I gave you the information that you just need to start making changes. And so now the question is, what are you actually going to do with this information? Because the truth is that information was never really the missing piece for you. We live in a world where we can find out anything we want about everything in an instant. There is no, I don't know what to do. You do know what to do, right? That wasn't actually the problem. It wasn't that I feel like I don't have access to the things that I need. Also, not a problem. So, if we know you actually had all the outside resources this entire time, then what is actually missing, right? We don't have a knowledge problem. We have a pattern that our body is still running in, that pattern of following rules, the pattern of pushing against your body, the pattern of perfectionism and tight control and really high functioning in a way that's actually hurting our body instead of helping our body. And we've really discounted the fact that our body has so much wisdom in it already. And we said, I don't have the answers, somebody else does. So I'm going to outsource everything to the world outside of me. I'm going to find a guru. I'm going to find somebody who tells me exactly what to do and how to do it. So I don't have to think. So I don't have to feel. I'm going to follow this plan, XYZ, so that I get to the end and then I'll get what I want and then I'll get what I need. And all of that is performative. All of that is the exchange that, like, hey, body, if I do this, then you have to give me that. How often have we done that with our body, right? If I do everything right, if I eat all the protein, if I time my meals perfectly like this, if I get this many steps, if I take this supplement, then I'll get that. And it doesn't happen. And then you start to think, well, this body is the problem. This body is the thing that needs to be fixed. This body is broken. And that was never true. You just never actually asked your body, what do you actually need from me? How do I help you? How do I help you feel safe right where you are? Safe with your environment, safe with the amount of food that is coming in, safe with the amount of energy going out, right? So if it wasn't information, if it wasn't the checklist, if it wasn't doing it all perfectly right, then what was missing was the pattern that was running underneath of it. And that pattern is your nervous system being like, this is what I know. I'm just going to keep going, 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 going. Don't look outside the lines. Don't think about this more. Just do it just like this and it will happen, right? And it didn't. And then we get very frustrated and confused and then we stop until we feel bad enough and then we restart all over again because we were conditioned, right? So conditioning, we're all conditioned, right? We can be conditioned by great things that are super helpful for us. We can also be conditioned by things that aren't helpful for us. Both will exist. And it's our responsibilities as adults and women and us being the authority in our lives to decide what's helpful for me. If I'm going to be conditioned by the world around me, if I'm going to get conditioning from my parents, from my family, from my community, from the internet, from the world, I'm going to actually choose which conditioning I'm going to keep because it's helpful for me and which conditioning is no longer helpful for me. Because often the way that we are running ourselves in the background, right? So people pleasing, at one point, people pleasing earned us the feeling of love, the feeling of value, the feeling of acceptance. And especially as little girls, right? I'm the oldest. I took care of everyone, took care of my sister. I took care of my mom. Just all the things, right? I was like, I'm good at this, right? I was told that when I was a little girl. You're so patient. You're so kind. I can always rely on you. And what that gave me was what I was looking for. Love me more. Tell me I'm important, right? And so it did. And so my nervous system was like, hey, we get what we want when we do things for other people, when we take care of other people, when we are patient, when we are kind, when we are overgiving. You get that feeling that you were looking for. But then we take that and we copy and paste it to everything in our lives, at work, with our family, with our friends, with our community, with everything in our life. And it makes sense because it worked in one area of our life, especially when we were little girls. But now we're adult women, and it's not helping us get what we need or what we want anymore because we don't actually have to people please and overgive in order to feel valuable and loved anymore. Perfectionism taught us that there was a right way and a wrong way. And that worked beautifully when we were in kindergarten. It really helped us stay safe, stay within the lines, walk on the line, do this just like this. And then you got rewarded, right? Your teacher told you were such a good girl. Your mom was so proud of you because you got these wonderful reviews from your teacher. You were reinforced over and over again. Do things right, do things the right way, follow the rules, you get what you want, which in school is that love, that acceptance. I belong here, right? So we took that and we copied and pasted it to everything in our life. And it works in some ways, but it doesn't work when it comes to our health. It doesn't work when it comes to wanting to lose weight in midlife. It doesn't work when it comes to balancing our hormones in midlife. This is a different plan, but we've just copied and pasted it and expected the same results. And then diet culture came in after the perfectionism, after the people pleasing that you were learned as a little girl. Then diet culture comes in at some point, right? For many of us, still elementary school. Maybe it waited for middle school, high school, college, but we were young, and diet culture told us less is always more. Count your calories. Your calories should be less than what you expend. Cut your carbs. You don't need carbs. You want to lose fat really quick? You should cut the carbohydrates. So we did it and it worked. And we counted our carbs, or we counted our calories. We did it and it worked. We did keto and it worked. We did Weight Watchers and it worked. And so we took that, we copied and pasted it into our 20s, into our 30s, into our 40s. And now it doesn't work anymore because we're taking old rules that were created for a 20-year-old body and we're pasting them into our midlife. The same thing of people pleasing and perfectionism we do with diet culture, and yet we are still confused. We can't copy and paste those old rules and expect them to work on this midlife body. And then we also have hustle culture because, damn, we're high achievers. We're high functioning. You need it done, we can do it, and we can do it really good, and we can do it better than anyone else in this room. I will show you that, right? And we did that, copied and pasted that because it worked when we were in the workforce and the early part of our careers. It worked if we were building businesses. It worked to get us to the next step in our adult life. And then we copy and paste that to our health in midlife. And we're still confused as to why this doesn't work. Because we have a new set of rules that our body would like us to go by. And it's to listen. It's to understand. It's to show safety to our body. Because our capacity, remember the slide from yesterday and the day before, is slowly getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Before, it just stayed like this. We didn't have to do anything. It just stayed like this. There was lots of wiggle room. But now our job is to increase the capacity, not reinforce the capacity becoming smaller. And that's what we're doing by copying and pasting these old rules into our life now. So we push through, we micromanage our bodies. We call it discipline because that feels really responsible. And that worked at one point. But now our body does not need discipline. Our body needs to be invited into the conversation. So understanding your body is step one. And that is what we have been doing yesterday and the day before. That's what we're doing in the Facebook group. That's what you're doing when you read the emails. That's what you're doing when you're using your handy dandy workbook, which don't forget about this guy. He's a super useful tool, can help a lot of insight on what is going on with you. But understanding your body is step one, but becoming a body who, or becoming a woman who lives in this body is embodiment. There's a difference between performative and understanding. So understanding is like I have the concepts in my mind. My mind has the information. There's performative, which I'm going to carry out the action. And then there's embodiment. And that's who you are. That's you being the healthy woman. That's you being wellness. It's who you are. It's not a coat that you put on every day anymore and you perform from actions. It's that the coat becomes you. It's that the coat is no longer external sitting on your skin. It's that it is your skin. It is who you are. It's how you wake up. It's how you move through the day. It's how you care for yourself. It's how you get ready for bed. It's how you sleep. It just is you. And in the past, you have tried to do this by performing your wellness from information that somebody told you, which I have done the last 2 days. And now your next step is embodiment. Learning informs, but embodiment, true embodiment, which is what you want, will truly set you free. So I want you to think about, and I want you to go back to your workbook today. Don't leave this behind. Don't just say, I don't need to do this, because then I'm going to push back on you and say, if you do what you've always done, you will always get the same result. If you want a different result, then you have to do the hard work. And the hard work is simply picking up a pen and answering some questions, doing some reflection on yourself. And I know I'm coming at you hard today because somebody has to tell you the truth. Somebody has to be real with you. This is not performative. This is me speaking from the depths of my soul, helping so many women, and also seeing so many women do this over and over again and fall flat because you're not willing to look and ask yourself some really good questions to find some really good answers, to stop feeling confused and doing it over and over and over again. I'm going to call you out. And if this feels uncomfortable, I'm not yelling at you, I'm loving with you. But if it feels uncomfortable, ask yourself why. If nothing changes and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, what do the next 5 years look like for you? Because based on the audits I've been doing the last couple of days, they're going to look the same and it's going to look worse. You think you're tired now? Wait a couple years. You think you're not eating right now? How is that going to get better if you keep doing the same thing over and over again? What's still the same? Do you want to operate when you feel like your body is out of control? When you feel like you can't control your actions? When you feel like you're reactive with your kids and your family all the time? No, of course you don't want that. Of course you want to be the mother who's able to listen and understand and give from love instead of feeling like the family keeps taking and taking and taking from me. And it's not your family's fault. It's your fault for not taking care of yourself first. Nobody is going to come and feed you breakfast. Nobody is going to come and make you lunch. This is your responsibility. What has it cost you so far? Has it cost you presence? Has it cost you joy? Has it cost you frustration?
I think it's
Freedom.
just a little.
Let me move. I don't think I'm on mute. Hold on. And then where do you feel that in your body right now? When we ask hard questions, when we ask good questions, our body might feel tight. Our body might feel like I want to run away. We might be a little frozen. We might say, I don't want to know the answer. I don't want to pick up my pen and I don't want to know what would come out. But when you feel that resistance, maybe you feel it in your throat, your chest, your belly, it's just your body speaking to you and it wants you to listen. It's your body saying, I'm scared. It's your body saying, if we just don't know, then we can stay quiet and we can pretend for a little bit longer. But what does pretending get you? What does looking the other way get you? It gets you the same thing you've always gotten. And if you're happy with that, I am not here to argue with you. But you're here for a reason. You signed up because you want a different result. And so if you want a different result, what are you going to do differently this time? Are you going to take in more knowledge? Let your brain become overloaded with more information? Let yourself feel confused about what to do? Let yourself feel frustrated every single week? Or are you going to do something a little uncomfortable? Acknowledge the tightness in your body, answer the questions anyway, and get to see that it wasn't hard. It was actually insightful. It was actually really useful information that came from your body, that came from the wisdom that's in here, that came from your body screaming at you, asking you, can you just listen? Can you just hear me? I just have some things to say. Right? Our body is such a beautiful resource, and we're ignoring it and we're dismissing it. And I don't want you to go another 20 years when I'm like, everything you need is actually right here. And yet we go another 20 years and feel confused and buy another supplement and purchase another $25 program and we're hoping it's going to save us. Those things aren't going to save you. And I'm going to say this next part with as much love as I possibly can. And for you to really understand that this is not coming from a place of, I don't even know what to say, being bitchy. If you choose not to take any actions from today, like meaningful actions of embodiment, not performative actions, not I'm going to check this off the list. I'm not going to just do this out of being because Melissa told me to, but meaningful action for real change in your life, then stop trying. Because the constant trying for 5 days and then falling off for 4 days and then on for 3 days and then off for 7 days and then on for a month and then off for 6 months, that is more damaging to your body and to your soul and to the beliefs that you have in yourself that you can be a healthy woman than to just move on with your life. It's like a real terrible relationship that we watch our friend, like say you have this best friend, she's in this awful relationship and she just doesn't leave. And if she leaves, she goes back. And you're like, want to shake her and say, stop going back. Stop doing this. We've all seen our friends do this at one point in our lives. Stop going back. We're doing that to ourselves. We're reinforcing a bad relationship with our bodies by continuing to go back to things that are performative, that somebody told us to do, that are not right for our bodies. And it continues to damage us over and over and over again. And we stay in that vicious cycle. So I want to tell you about my client, Kathleen. Let's jump to real life results. Kathleen came to me. She was bloated, exhausted, constantly worrying about body fat dieting. She did all the diets. She did paleo. She did some sort of tracking. She did Weight Watchers. She did all of them. She was also 63. So I want people to be able to see themselves like if it works for someone who's 63, probably will be able to work for you as well, right? 63, been through a lot. She also has a very high functioning job, a very high achieving job. She's a principal of a Catholic school. Um, she has a chronically ill mother that she cares for that lives in Florida and she lives in Ohio. So there's lots of traveling. She does not have a hunky-dory life where she's just sitting, putting her feet up and relaxing in retirement, right? She's in the thick of it. She has a school that she takes care of. She has this ill mother. And she came to me in this state, bloated, exhausted, gaining weight, constant dieter. Her body was always in pain. Going for a walk felt really hard for her. Her energy was low and she just felt very stuck. After working together, she lost 28 pounds easily, simply by adding in whole foods, listening to her hunger, understanding what her body needed from her. She went from struggling to walk around the block to walking miles without a problem. Her body feels strong again. She trusts her body again, right? Even in the midst of her high stress job and taking care of her mother who lives, states and states away, she still is able to do the things that she learned when working together. She still applies them consistently. She still follows through. She still goes back to them. Her relationship with food and herself completely changed. And she said, "This has been one of the easiest things I have ever done." So you already know what to do, right? But what if you're still not doing it in a way that actually works? The question is, how much longer will you try to treat the symptoms instead of the source? And body wisdom is where starting over ends forever. So I'm going to tell you about my program, Body Wisdom. Um, Body Wisdom is my 12-week program. It is where we will work on balancing your hormones naturally, finding your natural weight, feeling at home in your body, and stop outsourcing your health. It's 12 weeks long. It's going to be a live coaching program. So, live presentation of information, live group coaching. And we start, enrollment closes April 10th. So we start April 13th. And we're going all the way through to July 3rd. So over the course of 3 months, we're going to be exploring 6 different principles of midlife health and the ones that actually drive how you feel, how you sleep, how your hormones balance, how they behave, how your body responds. 1 week, we'll do a live training and understanding of this is what I want you to understand about your body. And the next week, we do embodiment and group coaching. So we're learning and we're applying, and we're learning and we're applying. We're not just consuming information. And actually, the learning is a very small part of this program because the truth is, as I've said many times before, you already know a lot. I don't have a whole lot of information to teach you because this is very simple things we're going to apply to your midlife busy body so it can feel better. So, week 1, we begin with body-based awareness with nutrition. Nutrition always comes first in my world. The reason is because that nervous system cannot respond until it has access to consistent energy. So this is where the conversation between your body and your mind starts to open. And you start to notice, what do I actually need? What don't I need? And also, why do I keep falling back into the things I don't need, right? Why do I keep going back to the chocolate? Why do I keep cracking open the wine? Why do I grab an energy drink? Your energy will begin to improve within a week or 2 of the things I'm going to teach you. Very simple, applicable things that you're going to apply to your busy day-to-day life. And for the first time, you're going to hear your body and you're going to be able to respond to your body instead of overriding it or pushing it through. And also know that I'm not giving you a copy and paste. This is what you do. Now you do it. I'm giving you insights on this is what your body feels like. This is what we do. Okay. Then we're going to move into more tangibility with the nervous system. So in this phase, we're starting to learn to recognize our stress by responding to it versus reacting. Right now, we're doing a lot of reacting to our stress. Now we're going to respond to it. Responding gives us an entirely different action or result than reacting to it, right? Responding looks like I'm starting to feel on edge. I'm going to respond with, am I hungry? Do I need to step away? Have I drank any water today? What does my body actually need from me right now? Reacting looks like I'm going to yell at my kids. I'm going to grab some chocolates. I'm going to drink another coffee, right? That isn't going to produce the same result as what responding to your stress does. We don't actually need to change the stress in your day to day. We just need to change how you respond and how you feel to it. And so now we're 4 weeks in and things are working in real time. Your energy is increasing, your sleep is getting better. And for the first time in your life, you start to feel like taking care of your body is actually a peaceful action instead of a performative action. Then we're going to move into more hormonal balance things. Things means understanding our cycle if we have one. If we don't have one, it's irregular. How do we work with that? And if we don't have one, if we're postmenopausal or we've had a hysterectomy, or we simply just don't have a cycle, maybe due to birth control, there's lots of different reasons. But how do I actually work with my fluctuations as a postmenopausal woman? Because here's something I didn't talk a lot about in the last 3 days, but even when we don't have a cycle and we're postmenopausal, we are still created to be cyclic humans, right? Men are created to be static humans. Same day, same thing every single day. Just go to bed, wake up, I'm the same human. Women are cyclic even after a period stops. So, how do we work with our energy? How do we work with our ebbs and flows when we don't have the signal of our period anymore? So, both with the period and without the period, I'm teaching you how to work with your cycle, aka your energy, throughout a month's time. And this is where you learn to eat, to move, and to live within the cycle of being a woman. And this is how we really achieve balance, clean energy, not feeling like we're fighting our body. Our hormones are naturally balanced. Everything feels like easy peasy instead of really hard. And then 8 weeks in, we're taking action from a place of love and not punishment. Weight loss is going to become this natural side effect of what we're doing, not because we're white knuckling, not because we're micromanaging our food, not because we're tracking our calories, but because our body is beginning to feel very safe. And also at this point, if the scale hasn't moved yet and you want it to, you're going to have a really clear understanding of why and what your next steps are. And then we move into this phase, and this is where we begin to understand the emotional body. This is where results are coming from momentum and not from working harder. And this is where I'm speaking on the wrong week. Hold on. The emotional body is where we understand our emotions and be able to know what our emotions are speaking to us because emotions are the language of the body, right? But many times we don't know that we're feeling an emotion or we run away from an emotion or we don't want the emotion to be there or we think the emotion is wrong. And so then we try to override it, we try to push it down, we try to ignore it, we try to reason with it, or we become very reactive with it and we don't really love the result of that either. And we want to be able to understand the emotional body within the context of everything in body wisdom, because the truth is you are an emotional being, right? And emotions are one of the best ways that our body actually communicates to you. And so we're going to learn all about the emotional body too, so that you can take that, move forward, and that helps you become, again, be able to embody this way of living, because now you've brought your emotions into the conversation as well. And then we move into self-trust and freedom. And this is where your results are coming from momentum, not from working harder. And this voice and then this last phase is sometimes when we start to be like, this feels too easy. I should be doing more. And this is when the little devil on the shoulder comes up and is like, let's poke some holes in this. Let's find a reason why this should be harder. And we're actually looking at this voice eye to eye, and we're looking at what is it actually looking to do, right? It's actually looking to bring you back a couple of steps and to, we could call this sabotage, bring you back a couple of steps because it was more familiar there, right? This is one of the reasons why humans have a really hard achieving things and keeping that achievement. Because moving forward consistently, week after week after week, the nervous system starts to feel uncomfortable, right? And that's the expansion of us becoming a higher version of ourselves, the highest self, right? That's deeply uncomfortable for our nervous system. We've talked a lot about how your nervous system likes to keep you safe. It wants to keep you in the same thing, doing the same thing over and over again, so it knows what to expect. Well, when we keep moving forward, even with support, our nervous system is like, I'm going to poke some holes in here. I'm going to make sure that we go back a couple steps. I kind of liked it back there. I think I want to go there. I know what to expect. We know that that is going to happen. We know that what to expect when this happens. We can look for it now. We don't have to be surprised when it shows up because we're just acting like a human, right? We don't have to blame ourselves that we sabotage. We don't have to blame ourselves that something has terribly gone wrong, right? This is part of the human evolution. But this is where we really build self-trust. This is where we're able to see it in real time happening. Now, this might happen in week 11 and 12 for you. It also might happen in week 8, 9, or 10. I have things built in to where we can start to see these things happen in real time, to be able to catch them, to be able to understand them, and not make it mean that something has terribly gone wrong and that you should stop or that you should quit or go right back to where you were before, right? Again, that's performative. That's not embodiment. So this is also when we're leaving behind the food rules, the tracking, the perfectionism, everything that you've kind of taken in with you. I want you to think about like you're coming into body wisdom and you're carrying a suitcase of food rules. You're carrying a suitcase of tracking. You're carrying a backpack of perfectionism. And then on the shoulders, you've added in some control. And we have all of that coming with us. And I know that. And I am well prepared for that. And we are going to slowly start to put down the suitcase of food rolls. We're going to peel off the backpack slowly of perfectionism. We're going to lift off whatever's on our shoulders of control. And we're just going to let those sit next to our body while we start to learn how to live life without them. And once we get to this point in the program, we're now creating a lot of space in between us and those things that we've brought in that we don't need anymore and that were actually hurting us and not helping our body. And that's where we move into freedom, right? Those things might always be there because they were part of us at one point, but we now know how to create space in between us and those things that we brought in that don't help us anymore, that might be hurting us. So what's actually inside of the program? What are like the tangible things that you actually get that you have access to? So we have the tools. The tools are going to be the live content. Just know everything that I give you is going to be in replay form. So you'll be able to consume it if you can't come live. However, I love the live component because it gives you so much more closeness to me. I haven't pre-recorded anything besides the first thing that you come in so that you feel very supported and know exactly what to do when you come into the program. But everything else has not been recorded yet. So that actually means that you're getting real life information, real life feedback, real life. You guys said this last week. I'm going to now bring that into this lesson this week, right? So it's very much so catered to you right now. We will also have nervous system and somatic tools. So I heard a lot of great things about breath work last night. You'll have a library of tools that you can refer to at any time, and I will be teaching you how to use these tools, how to apply these tools. You don't have to know any of this coming into Body Wisdom. That is exactly what I'm here for. But we will be using things like that to help us regulate in real time because we got so much great feedback last night about the breathwork class on how calm you felt, how much your body needed that time in that space. And those are things that are going to be part of your normal reality. Now, you're not having to do breathwork every single day, absolutely not, but you have access to them whenever you need them. And the more you start to use these tools and bring them into your daily life, the more regulation just becomes a part of who you are. You're going to have meal ideas and menus for your real life. I have created a custom GPT, which means it's a chat GPT that I have created that has everything from my brain in it. And you go in, you say, I need a meal plan for XYZ. I need to know what to make for my foods this week. I'm working on this. I have this many people in my family. It already knows to spit out some meal ideas, a meal plan for a whole week, the recipes, how to prepare it, what days you're going to do what, all of those things. Because the truth is, all of you could sit down and be able to create a meal plan for yourself. I don't need to teach you how to do that. So I'm not going to use the very precious energy that you have and force you to go make a meal plan for yourself. I am very much so for efficiency. If I don't need to teach you how to do something, if you already have that skill and that ability, but you don't have the capacity to do that right now, let's use a tool that I've built for you. You just click a button and it spits out your answer. And now you don't have to use your brain or your physical capacity, which you don't have enough of right now, to do that for yourself, right? So taking that off of your plate so this is a way we rebuild that capacity. There is a very specific journal that I have created for this program, and for you, which will be your handy dandy, wonderful best friend for a few weeks. But your journal is a big part of this program. You get the calls. So we have biweekly group coaching and we have biweekly live trainings. So one week we do a live training together. The next week we do group coaching. We alternate every week for 12 weeks. And that way you always have, and also we have the community. So you're never navigating this alone. The community, I'm in there daily. Ask me any question. I'm happy to give you any answer, the answer that you need best. And then also you have direct feedback, which this is a brand new program. So I'm building it from the ground up with you. So this is what we call a beta program. And with that, you're actually getting far more support inside of a beta program than what the future cohorts will get. So with that, you're also getting direct feedback. So every week that we have a group coaching call, you get a form to fill out. I get everything I need about what's going on with you, what's going well, what's not going on well, what you actually need from me right now to achieve the results that you want from this program. And I give you coaching inside of the group coaching program. So you're not left behind to consume a bunch of modules and courses and information. We are integrating it real time together. And you also do have the opportunity to upgrade to VIP if you want to have private messaging with me and you want to have private coaching calls, just you and I on that coaching call. This is for somebody who wants more support inside with that group container. That is available, and I have 5 spots open for that as well. So pricing, again, this is beta founding member pricing. You get more support at a lower cost. So pricing is $222 a month. Or if you'd like to pay in full, it's $599. If you want to upgrade to VIP, it's $399 a month or $1,111 paid in full. And you save a little bit of money with that. I also accept HSA and flex spending because because that's what my platform is on, and you can use HSA and flex. And let me put the link in here so I don't forget. I was going to have it ready to go and I forgot. Where's my chat? I'm going to do it in a second. Okay. So let's talk about probably some reasons why you can't join right now, why it's not going to work right now, all the things that are going to come up, which are all very valid and very true. I'm never going to tell you that the reason that is coming up is untrue. And also, this is your nervous system working in real time, right? Your nervous system is like, I don't want to spend more money on something that won't work because I've already done all the things. I already know all the things. Why would I keep doing this? Right? Because you've done supplements, you've done labs, you've worked with providers who told you the same thing, right? You've done 30-day challenges, you've done quick fixes, you've done programs that costed a lot and made you just feel more confused and going into like a freeze response or a fawn response or a flight response. I don't want to do this. This is a lot, right? You've probably already spent thousands to solve this problem. The difference is that none of these were solving the problem at the source. All of these were performative. Do this, you get that. That's not actually how it works anymore. Body wisdom isn't another expense. This is the last one. This is the last thing that you will need because you will begin to develop the skill of understanding your body and giving your body what it needs. You've probably tried everything at this point. Why in the world would this be different? Because everything you've tried handed you a plan and hoped that you had the willpower to follow it. You don't have willpower anymore. We can't rely on that non-renewable resource, right? It's gone. The capacity, you're living in here right now. I can't expect you to pull willpower from that amount of capacity. That doesn't make sense, right? The math ain't mathin'. But body wisdom starts where those programs did not. We start with your nervous system so we can increase your capacity. We start with your hormones so your capacity continues to expand. We start with your midlife biology. We start by understanding the why before you are ever asked to trust yourself with some willpower and discipline, right? We go straight to that source because the plan is not the problem. The foundation in the past has been the problem. When you think about a meal plan or food trackers, I'm not giving you specifics. You must do exactly this. I'm giving you framework and we're listening for feedback, right? There's no meal plan, no meticulous counting, no food rules. However, we will use some light data tracking early on. Why? Because you can't hear your body right now. And we can't expect you to hear your body just because you came into the program. We have to actually create the foundation. We have to open up the communication pathways inside that body to be able to understand what does it need, right? So to do that, we do have to do a little bit of light tracking in the beginning. This isn't to grade you, not to tell you you're doing it wrong, but to show you what's actually happening inside of your body. What gives you energy? What takes it away? How do I make this repeatable in the future? And when we talk about making it repeatable in the future, we're looking for evidence that this worked. So we are using the body for a lot of our decisions, but we're also playing with the mind because the mind is the thing that will keep you from following through. We'll find problems, we'll overanalyze, all of those things. We want to play with the mind and play some of the mind's games along with it so that we keep going. And I love this one. Science plus vibes equals magic. I love both. I love some vibes, but we also need some science. We also need some data. And when we have both of those working together, boom, we have magic. So, what if you do this and it still doesn't work? The fear makes complete sense because you've tried hard before, but this isn't about trying harder. There's no willpowering, there's no white knuckling your way through this. There's no grading yourself. There's no starting over on Monday. You're not here to stick with something. You're here to finally understand yourself well enough that sticking with it stops being the question and you start being the wellness. It is naturally who you are. You wake up as this person, you go to bed as this person. And this quote from Tabitha, which I love because she felt this way before we started working together. You are not crazy, even though what you're feeling might make you think that you are. And you can make huge wins by simply learning to listen and love your body again. So, what's next? The link that I told you I was going to give you. If I could find my chat, that would be super helpful. We're going to go like this. There. Now I found it. Okay. Okay. That's the wrong one. All right. What's next? I have the link in the chat. You're also going to get an email this afternoon that says Body Wisdom is open. From there, all you have to do is click, do you want the main level, 222 a month, 599 paid in full, or do you want to up level to VIP? Remember, there's 5 spots open for that. After that, you get your welcome email and you'll have your access to your first video. You'll know exactly what to do for your next simple steps. Our first official coaching call will be April 22. However, before that, everything that you need is located right there in that program. Also, the chat is already open, the community is open. So, any support that you need between now and April 22, I'm 100% in there. Ask any question. I'll be following up with you right away to make sure you have everything that you need to feel very safe, know what to do, and to be able to take those first steps. And then you will just get to start balancing your hormones. You'll get to start shifting your weight. You'll get to start feeling at home in your body, knowing that you're never going to start over again. So, what is the result of body wisdom? What are we here to do? Balance our hormones naturally, understanding our cortisol and insulin, those 2 hormones that we have most control over, finding our natural weight. So, natural weight loss is just letting that weight be the natural side effect, not forcing, not micromanaging our body, not white knuckling to see those last 2, 5, 10, 15 pounds come off, only to exchange it for less sleep, feeling more stressed, feeling like I can't handle this, right? We're finding our natural weight, the weight that our body really craves to be at. Feeling at home in our body that allows us to have energy, feel consistent, go to sleep at night, feeling like this is who we are. It's not performative anymore, it's embodiment and no longer starting over, right? Because we just feel at home. We don't have to start over from something that we naturally are. So doors close to Body Wisdom on next week, Friday. So Friday, April 10 at midnight, I'll be closing the doors. And then you'll be able to start as soon as you enroll. And then we will be having our first cohort group coaching call April 22. So I'm going to stay on for a couple of minutes. We have a little bit of time here as well. Are there any questions that you would like answers from any of the content I've given you the last couple of days? The program, the audits, the journaling. I wish my Zoom would just be a little bit more cooperative with me. Any questions at all, I'm going to stay on. I did have somebody ask in the Facebook group for the replay for breathwork. And I did initially say that I wasn't going to do a replay. However, I am going to do the replay because I want you to have it. And that's that. Okay. I hate changing my mind. So I will get that replay out there. I will probably just put it in the Facebook group though. For a replay. That being said, no, there are no labs with the program. Labs are only going to be a part of my one-on work for right now, because that's just kind of how I've shifted things in my business. And yes, you're welcome, Sharon, for the replay. The reason is because labs need more attention than what I can give to a group. And I want to be able to give you that attention inside of that. Also, then when people don't do labs, then they get confused because I'm talking about labs and it becomes a lot of back and forth-ish. So if you want labs, you will want to book a consultation call with me to talk about private one-on-one coaching. But not in this group cohort. It won't be. Great question though. Just looking back at the chat. No rules. Okay, love that. Perfect. Any other questions? The Facebook group also and the replays will be available. Yeah, there we go. I'm answering it right now. Through April 10, and then I'll take them down. Reason why I always take down replays is because I believe so much in energy work. Well, not just believe, it's true, it's real, right? So energy work. This is a lot of energy for me to do, right? To go live every day, to create all the content for the events, to be in the Facebook group. Not that that means anything for you. I'm not saying like I need compensation or anything like that, but they're recorded. And then when I just put them out into the internet and I just let them live there, it takes away the value, the energetic value of the content and everything there. And then it goes and it lives on a platform and it's never actually watched. It's never consumed. It just sits there. And for you, it might be sitting there in the back of your mind, taking up space, saying, I need to listen to the thing. Or, oh, yeah, I was going to do that. And that becomes also an energetic leak. And whenever we think about energetic leaks, so we have this content sitting out there on YouTube and nobody's watching it. We have it sitting in your email box and you're not opening it and you're not listening to it. And then I also have this attachment to this beautiful program that I've created for 3 days, and it's sitting out there and it's not being consumed. That is energetic leak just sitting out here in the universe. I don't like to have any sort of leaks. I like to have things contained. Also, containment is safety. Containment is safety for the mind, for the body, for the universe. And so I like to make sure that energy, all sources of energy, whether it's information I'm teaching you, if it's a podcast, if it's a program, if it's an email, it's all in some sort of container. And that way that is kept very safe. And so I hope that you understand and respect that because now you can see that now everything that I create is not just to put out here, it's for actual transformation. It's for actual results, right? And so if I just let it be out there, it's just taking up space and it's wasting energy. Other than labs, what is the big difference between the group class versus individual? Do you cover the same information? Good question. Individual private is going to be custom for whatever that client needs. So that just depends on what the client comes to me with because it's always going to be custom to that person. Now, if you know that inside of the group that the results I'm talking about, the natural hormonal balance, you want to eat more consistently, well-balanced foods and meals, you want to sleep better, you want more energy. If those results speak to you and you're like, that's what I want, that's what I need, and you can do it in a way that you can do some self-modulation, right? Because in private, you're paying more for my time. So then there's going to be less self-modulation in a private container. There's going to be more self-modulation inside of a group container, right? Because you have to take on some of that responsibility. And that's also why it's cheaper than what doing private coaching would be. So that would be the difference. Also, inside of the group, it's not custom just for you. It's created for a group of people. Now, if you're coming in for the results that the program sells, then there will be no problems, right? You'll get everything that you need in there. But if there are other things like in private coaching that we would address, so specific hormonal imbalances, digestive issues, chronic stress, like chronic stress in the way, shape, or form that it is hard for you to take any sort of meaningful action to create enough momentum to keep going, right? Those would be things that would be covered more in private coaching. But a lot of the information is going to be the same because I'm not actually changing everything that I teach, right? That everything I teach, whether in a group or in private coaching, is coming from everything I've studied, everything I believe, everything I know that truly works for clients. That information is getting regurgitated many a times, right? It's just whether it's in a group or private. But the support level is really what the difference is. Okay. Good questions. Any other question? All right. I don't see any. Okay, my friends. We're going to call it. If you do have questions, you can always reply to any email that I send you. You can always go to the Facebook group, post a question there. You can comment on any of the videos I've done, anything like that. So thank you so much for being with me today and the last 3 days. It is not It is not dismissed or any shortage of appreciation from me that you have spent this time with me. So I hope to see you all soon inside Body Wisdom. Others, you have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.